we're looking to get to March 24 this time. All right. So we're going to be doing past continuous, when and while together. And then on the 21st, we're going to be doing used to and adverbs of time together so that you can complete your next forum and, upload your activities to your Unit 3 folder. All right. So in today's class, that's what we're going to be doing to start off our focus on getting here. At the end of today, I'll activate your next forum so you can start putting in your work little by little as you practice. And for those of you who had not done Unit 1's forum, or if you don't see your score, let me know. I graded those previously, but maybe you submitted your work after grading. Let me know if you can't see your grade for Forum 1, and I'll check it out for you. Same thing for exam review 1 and 2. It should grade automatically. Hopefully you did not add any extra writing or speaking in the exam. You should have been practicing in your units. And you should have gotten an automatic score for your exam as well. If not, let me know. I'll check it out. So let's dive in. As you saw in the introductory video, as I waited for people to join the lesson today, we're looking at past continuous. And remember, guys, some of these that I share with you have songs. So if you're a big music fan, you can always go and listen to some of the songs included to help you practice these new structures. So first thing, most important thing, why am I using the past continuous? Well, the use of the past continuous, like the present continuous, is talking about something in progression, something that was happening in a particular time, where we are going to be using our helping verb or auxiliary verb to be, but now in the past form with ing words or gerunds to express that progression. Now, structurally, for simple affirmative sentences, your subject line plus the appropriate verb form of the verb to be and your ing. Negative form, you make the verb to be negative, so wasn't or weren't, then your ing. Then you'll use either question words plus your auxiliary or the auxiliary to start your questions, followed by your subject line and your verb in ing form. Let's take a look at the uses of this particular structure and let's practice together. I believe, let me move the cameras over here on my left. And let's start with, let's see, it's about 20 of us together. We should be able to do some good stuff. Let's start with Alondra Huerta Martinez. Help us with use number 1.
The past continuous is used for action in progress. In the past, was that action that.
Go ahead. Let me mute your colleagues, Mariana.
Is in the past simple when and why. Single the use of the past simple and past continuous. In general, we use the past simple directly after when and the past continuous after why.
Continue with the examples.
Joseph called while I was watching the news. He was walking to work when he fell. Why was it raining when you left?
Good. So we're talking about events that were happening. in the now of the past. Now being, of course, a play on words. And notice, while is followed by the continuous form, while when is followed by the simple form. Usually when we're looking at the past and there is progression, there can be interruptions. The while and the when shows us that interruption. Jose called, that was the interruption. He fell, that was the interruption. You left, that was the interruption. Two actions, one progressive, one interrupting. So that's use number one, expressing some progression in the past and also showing where the interruption happened in the past. All right. Now, Lasmi, open up that microphone and let's tackle use number two.
We use the past continuous to talk about actions or events that happened at a specific time in the past.
Examples?
Examples, Paul's when living in Spain in, ay, no sé cómo se dice, 2005.
We're going to look at both of them. 2005 or 2005. Both of those are things I'm going to be adding to our lesson today. One, how are you guys pronouncing the ED endings? I notice you struggle a little bit. For example, used. The past continuous is used. Be careful there, but I'll share this with you. And when it comes to dates, like those dates that have lots of zeros, when you have lots of zeros, you're going to pronounce it all that time and the final number. 2005, 1901, right? There are little rules for how to say the dates, but I'll share those with you at the end. All right. Again, Lasmi, Paula wasn't living in Spain in 2005.
Okay. We were still working at 10 o'clock last night.
We were still working. Good. Mariana, number 3. Arriega Fuentes.
The past continuous is used for two actions that were occurring simultaneously.
All right, again from here, used for
two actions that were occurring
simultaneously.
Simultaneous.
Don't live off the one more time. Simultaneously, naturally.
Simultaneously in the past. Examples: my son was reading while I was cooking. They were talking very loudly while we were trying to watch the movie.
All right. And just like we said in our last class, there are verbs that do not behave in the same way as our continuous tenses. That's because they're what we call stative verbs. Their job, guys, is not to express progression. Their job is to express emotion or abstraction or desire or just to communicate a fact. Their goal is not to express any sort of dynamism. Therefore, they don't have continuity. All right, but let's practice. When and how do we use these structures for past continuous? All right, I think some more people are just joining. Oh my goodness. All right. Thank you. Thank you. If you just joined, full name and group in the chat for attendance. I think maybe one person forgot. Good. Let me share my screen again and let's practice. Right? This time, hey, Itzel Valle. Start for us. Remember, for the past continuous, we need was or were and our verb in ing form. For example, we, since it's plural, goes with were. I goes with was because it's singular. So we were playing video games yesterday at 3 o'clock. What would be the appropriate form for number one? Itzel Valle.
Es they
Ellos es singular o plural, Itzel.
plural.
Ok, ¿y qué ocupamos? Was o were para plural.
Were. As they were not.
Perfect. ¿Y cómo cambiamos nuestro verbo?
Doing.
Doing. All right, full sentence. They were not doing their homework yesterday at 3 o'clock. Your mic is muted, Itzel. Read the full sentence.
¿Perdón?
Read the sentence, the full sentence.
Perdón, es que se está cortando.
Mm-hmm.
They were not doing their homework yesterday at 3 o'clock.
Good. All right, Mario. Number two.
¿Yo la tengo que hacer también?
No, this is Mario Hernandez.
Ah, perdón. Sí.
Yes.
No.
What was he watching on television when you arrived?
Perfect. All right, Diana Montserrat Salgado Santana.
Yes. Is Howard was like the movie?
No. What do we say about verbs like and want and love? What are they expressing? Are they expressing progression? No.
No.
They're expressing things that are static or stative. They express truth or belief or desires, likes or preferences. They do not express continuity. So Howard, in the past, liked. That's it.
Okay.
All right. Look out for verbs that do not change because they don't have progression. One more time, Di.
Howard liked the movie?
Good. Yes. All right. Josue, number 4.
My parents were working when I come home.
When I came home, still past. All right, one more time. My parents were working when I came home.
My parents were working when I came home.
Good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Isabel.
Yes. In 2010, we were live in a small flat in London.
Don't forget the ing. We were living. One more time.
In 2010, we living in a small flat in London.
You're eating now the were. In 2010, we were living in a small flat in London. One more time.
In 2010, we were living in a small flat in London.
Good. And guys, flat is just another synonym for apartment, right? The Brits tend to use flat because sometimes they would have the whole floor for themselves. So that flat section of the building belonged to them. Now, of course, nowadays they still use it, even though they might only have one apartment on the floor. But generally in Britain, you'll hear the word flat referring to apartments. Zaud, number 6.
Yes, she was listening to music when I called her.
All right, same thing. That ed ending is beating you guys. Look out for the sound. All right, call. You'll notice there's a vibration in your throat. These are called voiced sounds. So just like use, it's a D sound at the end. Called, used. So one more time, Zaud. She was listening to music when I called.
Yes, she was listening to music when I called her.
All right. Number 7 goes to Gustavo. Rodriguez Esquivel.
Was it raining?
Mm-hmm. What else?
Was it raining
Uh-huh. When?
when you left? Was it raining when you left?
Good. All right. Rafa, continue. Same idea. Now unscramble the sentence you see. For example, cooking. She arrived. Was I when? She was cooking when I arrived. Rafa, what sentence here do you see? Hint, hint. It's a question. So you can start with a question word, then your verb to be, then your subject, then your verb, etc. What sentence in the past continuous can you make from the pieces you see here on the screen?
Sería what you were doing at
No.
3 o'clock?
It's what, then your helping verb. What were you doing?
Yeah, what were you doing
Mm-hmm.
at 3 o'clock?
At 3 o'clock. All right. Don't forget your question sign. Good. All right. Let's continue with Leslie Morales.
The students
Mm-hmm.
were not listening to the teacher.
Bad students. All right. Not going to learn that way at all. Right? And for contractions, you can make it sound nice and sharp. The students weren't listening.
Weren't listening.
Mm-hmm. Good. All right. Let's continue with Isabel Juarez Martinez.
Yes.
Right? Number 3.
We were
Mm-hmm.
watching a film when you call.
Right. And film is just another word that we can use instead of saying movie. Remember, movies before were made on this type of literally a belt, but it was of a different material that they would wrap around a projector, and that was a film. So we were watching a film or a movie when the interruption, you called. All right, let's continue with Leslie Montserrat Olvera Patiño. Question form.
How,
Mm-hmm.
where,
And this one is a little tricky because it's talking about duration of time. So how long were?
waiting the
Who? Don't leave out your person. How long were you waiting
for the bus?
for the bus? All right, one more time. How long were you waiting for the bus?
How long were you waiting for the bus?
Good. All right. Yaira,
Sí.
number 5.
We was when we was raining.
No. Was for we? Never. It was. We were. They were. But it, he, she, I was. Right? This is one of those cause and effect type things. Estaba lloviendo, entonces fuimos a casa. How would you say that in English?
It was raining, so we went home.
There you go. Right, Renata Rojas.
Okay. It was right. No.
It's a question. So we start with
When was he
mhm.
all right?
All right. Now we have 2 actions. Remember we talked about interruptions. What action was happening when another simple action interrupted it? We know that we want to know information. So what? Was he doing?
What's he doing when you
What action? Was he doing what?
doing homework?
When?
When you all right.
Exactly. ¿Estaba haciendo tarea cuando llegaste? Was he doing homework when you arrived? And just like use, just like call, be careful with your ed ending. All right, one more time, Renata. Was he doing homework when you arrived?
Was he doing homework when you arrived?
Good. All right, Jimena.
Yes. I was reading
All right. Notice we have while. So here we're going to start with our simple action. I heard a noise because we have while. After while, we usually have the ing. After when, we usually have the simple past. All right. So since we have while, we know we're going to go simple past first. While and ing.
While I was reading the newspaper,
All right. All right. Everything together now?
I heard a noise while I was reading the newspaper.
Good. All right. Let's go with Enrique.
Yes, I wasn't.
Sorry.
I wasn't. You. No, I wasn't sleeping.
Exactly. Interruption.
Call.
When and while should.
When you call.
Yeah, exactly. Again, I wasn't sleeping when you called.
Yes, I wasn't sleeping when you called.
Yeah, imagine you're there having your siesta, someone. ¿Estabas durmiendo? No. Estaba durmiendo cuando me llamaste. I wasn't sleeping when you called. All right. Now, remember, when we're using the past continuous, just like the present continuous, we're doing so, and let me show you in a bigger way. We're doing so, one, because there's a continuous interaction happening, and usually there's an interruption. Therefore, we'll see when and while. Maybe you're giving information about the past. All right. Now, we usually use it together. So you notice we had one event resulting in another event. It was raining, so we went home. The birds were singing and the sun was shining. You know, these are information from the past. Some of it is progressive, some of it is simple. If you're talking about temporary habits, we also use a continuous form. In the present, we use the present continuous. For the past, the same thing. Temporary habits, we use the past continuous. And if we want to show a range of time, we're going to use the continuous form because we're showing progression. All of these forms are uses, as we said, of the past continuous. But be careful. Just as we said before, there are verbs in English that do not have a continuous form. All right? Their purpose is to show a state. All right? Your likes, your loves, the things you hate, the things you think, the things you desire, the things you want. All of these behave in a particularly stative way. Now, some verbs can do both. We looked at some of them. Some of them can do both state and can also show progression. Usually when they are either voluntary or involuntary. As we know with our senses, we can choose how to use our senses, but of course our senses are also natural. They will occur because we have a nose and an eye and ears and fingers. All right? So remember the verbs that generally do not change to continuous form. Let's practice a little bit more. I think we have some few people who did not get a chance to practice. So let's continue with Andrea, Santiago. Simple one.
He was cooking.
He was cooking. Sophia.
She was playing cards.
It's a question. Was. One more time.
Play cards.
All right. Was she playing cards? Make it sound like a question. Was she playing cards? Your intonation is very important when asking a question. Repeat. Was she playing cards?
Was she playing cards?
Good. And Alexandra Palacios. How's your internet holding up? Go ahead, Alex. We heard you for a second there. What happened to your mic? Again? Uh-huh. Just one click, not 2 clicks. And something must be wrong with your microphone. Negative form, I was not crying. Right? All of your verbs, once we're using them in the continuous form, will have an ing. That will be in their gerund form. We need to remember which form of the verb to be matches with the subject and make our verbs continuous. Now, if they are stative verbs, then we don't change them other than putting them in the right tense. So if we're talking about something from the past, then we will go to the past. Now, super careful. When it comes to the ed endings, as we see when we're using the past simple, we have to practice what sound we will give to what verb or what adjective, depending on the purpose of the ed ending word. All right, so easiest ones are the ones that end with T and D. If the base word ends with a T or a D, all we have to do is add ED. Yes, but we do that for all of them. But the sound will be a ID for these ones. So want or need already have the D sound or the T sound at the end. So for those, we add id. Wanted, needed. Now, what about sounds that we create here, just in our mouth by pushing the wind, so to speak, through our lips or our teeth? These are called voiceless sounds because they don't come from our vocal cords down here. They come from here. Words that end with P, K, F, GH, which sometimes sounds like an F, SH, CH, SS, C, and X. These sounds are voiceless sounds. If you practice them, you'll notice they're basically coming from here. P, 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 K, 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 K. All of those sounds come from here. They're voiceless sounds. For the voiceless sounds, add a T. Helped, looked, sniffed, laughed, washed, watched, kissed, danced, fixed. All right, if you have a voiceless sound, give it a T ending. Now, in our explanations, as you read, we had a lot of voiced sounds that you create here with your vocal cords. Notice that when you say these words, you'll feel a vibration or a humming sound in the throat. You can touch your throat if you want to practice. For example, call, call, clean, offer, damage, love, use, amaze, rub, claim. All these sounds create a resonance here. Therefore, we'll give them a strong D sound. Called, cleaned, offered, damaged, loved, used, amazed, rubbed, claimed. All right, and same thing for vowel sounds. Follow, o, enjoy, oi, play, a, try, I, continue, you. Those are vowel sounds. So we'll also add a D ending. Followed, enjoyed, played, tried, continued. Right? So when you use those, make sure that you have the right pronunciation to match the ending of the words. There's a video that you guys can watch for this one, and there's some games that you can play to practice. The video doesn't have sound, but you can always come back and refer to it. There's one game that has 20 questions, another one that has 50 for you to practice. And remember the dates. As we saw, it also has a video. When it comes to dates, be careful how you're forming it. It looks like numbers, but it has a word. All right? Most words for years are pretty simple. We cut it in two pieces. 1984, 2023. All right? Because we know those two numbers, the first half and the second half. All right? But if they are not the common ones, then we have to practice how to sound them. All right? For example, 1709 or 1800. And of course, if you're talking about the whole century, the 15th century, you can also say the 2000s. All of these words describe different ways of saying years. I'll include this also in our class notes. All right? So get busy. I'll activate a forum for those who are quick on the draw. Practice now comes from Unit 3. And today we were working on the use of past continuous, when and while as conjunctions. See you next Saturday if you have questions. And yes, we have keys to open up the Mediateca earlier. So I'll be there early Wednesday morning at 7 for an hour or a little less. And in the afternoon at 6 p.m. again for another hour. If you need help, I'll be there in the Mediateca. All right? So have fun with your Saturdays. Keep on practicing, and I'll see you soon. Take care.